Again, thank you so much for joining us here on Idaho Today. SB Studios, it's a local podcast studio that allows community members to start up their own podcast without the worry of where and how. And I recently visited their location as they asked me humbly for an interview. I was joined by Ryland and Daniel from their Never Know podcast, and I was so impressed with the studio. I was like, we got to have these guys in here. So right now we're being joined by Ryland Dawson. He's a studio manager at SB and podcast and host, and podcast host, as well as the owner. This is Roberto Rodriguez. So great to have you both here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So it was so cool when I went into the studios. As mentioned, I had no idea it existed. What a brilliant concept. And, before we launch into this, though, Ryland, I do have to ask you, you were interviewing me, so how does it feel having the tables turned here this morning?
It's a little different. I'm not really used to this whole, lights. I'm more behind the tech guy like you saw. You were talking to the back of a computer screen, essentially, when we were there, so, or just like a little sliver.
Yeah, I saw your eyeball through like an inch, window. Yeah.
But no, this is cool. This is fun. It's, I like it.
Cool. All right. Well, as mentioned, though, really impressed with your guys' studio. Such a brilliant concept. Where did the idea to create kind of a podcast hub, if you will, come from?
So it really is kind of a short, long story, but it started back in 2020 during the pandemic. I personally wanted to start a podcast on my own just because I was trying to connect with a lot more people, my friends, coworkers, anybody that was around. Felt pretty isolated because of the lockdown, and I'm sure a lot of people did. Started up a studio in Spokane and quickly realized that I wasn't the only one that wanted to start a podcast. So we tried to come up with a solution, tried to start a studio kind of how we currently did, but found out that it's best that people just need production services. So now we offer a full-blown production studio to the community of Boise, so anybody can start and record a podcast whenever they want.
That's great. And I found out there's a number of podcasts that are really popular here locally that actually record in your space, which is super cool in itself. All right, but let's talk about your podcast, Brandon. Okay, so the You Never Know podcast, which is a really unique title. Where did the concept for this podcast come from?
So, we were going to do a podcast called the GCP originally. It was called the Good Call Podcast.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the third co-host graduated. We said, well, what are we going to do now? We kind of spun that and what if we do a podcast where you truly never know, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, we never know who we're going to have on, or we never know, maybe you get something from that person that you have on that you never knew. Mm-hmm. So like you, we got to learn your backstory, how you got into, you're a radio DJ, how you were in Sacramento, I believe, or in Northern California show, and then obviously now you're here and we got that whole journey. Yeah. And that's kind of where the idea of the podcast came from.
Oh, great. Okay, and your logo, too. I have to say, I really like your logo.
Thank you.
I think it's really reflective of our state and kind of locally, but what is because there's a little story behind this logo, right?
Yeah, so we weren't really sure what to do with artwork, just like the name.
It's beautiful.
And my roommate at the time, I had this picture that I took over off a Lucky Peak reservoir with my drone. And I was like, I think this would be a really cool picture if you animated it. And so my roommate at the time, Spence, he's like, let me give a crack at it. And I gave him our color palette, and he made it into that and put a little guy. If you look, there's a little guy on the mountain. You're the only person that have noticed it so far.
Seriously?
You're the only person that I remember that have noticed the little guy on the
mountain.
That's
the first thing I know. I was like, oh, look at the cute little man climbing up the mountain.
So
there.
we're gonna have to give him a name that maybe reflects off of
details.
Yeah.
I like details. Yep. Okay. All right. So in addition to hosting the podcast, you're also kind of the manager of the studio as well. So tell us how you came into the studio space, where you wanted to do this podcast, and how you're now kind of involved in that production.
Yeah. So I started as a creator at the studio back in about October of last year, 2021, and the studio manager position actually needed open. They were getting a little too overwhelmed with the amount of creators that were just creating podcasts, including myself. So I said, I like this. This is a form of content that I think is not only exploding right now, but it's just going, it's only going to be bigger and better, I think. And so, I think it's fun to help other people create that form of content and give my little bit of creative input, because then not only am I limited to myself with just my show, I kind of have a little bit of influence on other people's shows too. Yeah,
and speaking of being able to help others out, we're actually be doing a giveaway with you guys here soon on our social media as well. And what will we be giving away?
So we're going to be giving away a 6-episode package, because there's a stat out there that a lot of podcasters, the hard point to get is past 6 episodes.
Okay.
So giving away 6 episodes for free from SB Studios, fully produced, edited, and distributed.
Yeah.
and we'll help you get started, and that hopefully you continue on and create an awesome podcast with us.
So you're giving somebody a launching pad, if you will.
Exactly.
The
yeah.
opportunity to tell their story.
Yeah, I love that. That is great. Okay, and then our conversation, when does that drop?
It actually drops right now.
Okay.
Right when the show airs, I believe I set it for the same exact time as the show. So after the show, go check it out on all
right.
platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast.
Excellent. They get to listen to my yammer.
I
but most
prefer
importantly, they get to
Spotify
listen
or
to your
YouTube.
guys'
Yeah.
questions. You prefer what?
Spotify or YouTube because you get the video version.
Oh, yes, that's right, because
Yes.
there is a video version
Yes,
of the
we do
studio,
a vodcast.
which we all like that. A vodcast.
Yeah.
All right, a little expansion on your podcast there, Roberto. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Really
you for
appreciate
having
you guys
us.
Yeah,
coming
thank
on
you for your
here.
time.
And
It's
such
been
a
awesome.
brilliant concept.
Thank you.